That was actually the place where I had my turning point and realized that my truth is being a woman. Hello Life Squad, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Cece, and for those who are new, I would really recommend for you to subscribe to my channel and don't forget to hit on the notification bell as well so you never miss out on any of my videos. Anyway, in today's video, we are going to list down the places where you can find transgender women in the Philippines. So keep on watching. Now, before we start with this list, I just want to say that I came up with these items taking into consideration where our transgender women thrive, meaning what are the jobs that they can actually work in the Philippines, and that factor led me into listing down where they could possibly be. We must also consider the fact that the Philippines is predominantly a Catholic nation, and so that I feel has heavily influenced the perception of Filipinos on transgender women and the entire LGBTQ community. And in turn, that also affected the job opportunities available to our transgender sisters. Anyway, let's get into our list. Now, I know a lot of you would first say the bars or clubs or strip clubs, but I'm not talking about those. Well, of course, there's no denying that a fair number of our transgender women in the Philippines work in those places, but I'm talking about day jobs. Well, actually, two of the items on my list are shift jobs or jobs with rotating shifts. And so the first would be the salons. And I feel as though not only in the Philippines, but in a lot of countries, you can always find an artistic transgender woman who's very good at styling hair or cutting hair or, doing hair treatments and coloring. And so you would often see a transgender woman working in a salon. Now, the second on my list is the makeup counters. Now, there are makeup counters or brands in the Philippines or companies that brought in those brands to the Philippines that don't hire transgender women. I experienced it once in the Philippines that they required me to present myself as a male person to be able to get hired, and I didn't get hired the first time because I was already sporting long hair at the time. But for a short time, I actually detransitioned and went back to being just a regular gay boy before going back to being a transgender woman when I realized that, hey, this is really me. And it was a time of my life when I felt like, hey, I have to prioritize earning first, and I have to think about my career. And so I didn't really think too much about who I was and who I really want to be. I was young then, and so I detransitioned and then just realized that I am really a woman inside, and so I have to live my truth. And again, you can find a fair number of transgender women working in makeup counters in the malls, whether it be high-end or mid-range brands. Now the third is closely related to the first two items, and I would say you can find a fair number of transgender women working in fashion. Now, it can be in fashion design schools, or they can also be working as fashion designers, and they can also be assistants at a fashion house or a couture house or an atelier. Like I said earlier, transgender women are really like a fair number, a huge number of transgender women are very artistic, and that is why you can see in the way that they dress, the way they present themselves. They are colorful, happy people, artistic people. The fourth one is far from the three items that we mentioned earlier. And well, these items are as far from religion as they can be. And so the fourth item is the clinics or the hospitals. Now I know a lot of schools in the Philippines, if not all, are not progressive. They don't allow transgender women to wear female uniforms. They don't also allow students to grow their hair long and, you know, like live their life and present themselves as women at school. Some of the schools in the Philippines, or many, are very strict and they're not progressive. But if you're done with, let's say, medical school or nursing school and the likes, then hospitals and clinics wouldn't really care about how you present yourself, for as long as you are in uniform at your job in the hospital or the clinic, and you groom your hair in such a way that it doesn't affect your job in a negative way. Then they don't really care so much about you and how you present yourself, and so you are allowed to live your life as a woman. And so you can usually find transgender women working in clinics or hospitals. The fifth one might be one of the biggest, just like the very first one I mentioned, because yes, I think the greatest number of transgender women you can find usually in salons. But I think the fifth and final item that we have on our list rivals the first one, and that is because this is a very free environment, and it's also very far from religion. So you can find a fair number of transgender women in the call centers. But of course, since you are not allowed in the call centers if you don't work there, then you can usually find those transgender women hanging out at coffee shops or restaurants outside or very close to those call centers. And I actually fall under 3, 4, actually all of these items I fall under, because although I didn't work in a salon, I did want to work in a salon. It was a high-end salon, and I applied there as a makeup artist, and I got in, and I was actually in training, and I was observing. I was some sort of an intern at that high-end salon, and but I resigned just a few months after, I think, because I didn't really feel like it was aligned with who I am. I really wanted to work as a freelance makeup artist and not be employed. So yeah, but I did spend some time in the salon. It was a very good experience, and I gained some friends from there and experience, and some lessons on professionalism, because what I can say is that, the owner of the salon, even those working in the office of the salon, and the stylists there, the makeup artists, the senior stylists, they're all professional and very artistic people, and they're humble, just, amazing people. Now, makeup counters, when I was working as a makeup artist, I guested. I was hired as a guest makeup artist for a huge high-end makeup brand and international brand, and this luxe company brought it to the Philippines, and so I worked for just 1 week as a guest makeup artist for that brand. And fashion houses or ateliers, that was my second job throughout the course of my career. That was my second job, because after I worked as an administrator of a fashion design school. That branch of the branch of that school was in the Central Business District, and that was actually the place where I had my turning point and realized that my truth is being a woman. And then fourth is the clinics or the hospitals, because I actually am a graduate nurse. So I am, I was exposed to these places and this environment, and, I worked in the clinical setup. I was also frequently in the clinics and in the hospital, because my father was a surgeon. He was a doctor. And so growing up, I was always exposed to this environment. And then the fifth is the call center, because that was my very first job. In my third year in college, I realized that I didn't really want to work as a nurse. And so while thinking about what career I wanted to be in or want to work or establish, I worked in the call center. I applied for a job in a call center of a huge international bank, and I got in and I worked there for 2 years and a half. And towards my second year, I realized that I heard that one of my schoolmates from the nursing school became a designer, a fashion designer. So I got a hold of her and talked to her, and then I asked her how to sign up for a course in that school, in the fashion design school, where she was also teaching. And so while working during the weekdays at the call center, I sent myself back to school at the fashion design school during the weekends. So work during the weekdays and then school in the weekends. And so it was a wonderful time of my life, and such good memories. And so when I made this list, I didn't realize that I actually fall under all these places, and I worked in these places. And this is representative of all my places that I've been in, and so these are the places where you can see transgender women in the Philippines. So if you're hoping to maybe just see transgender women and observe them in their natural habitat, if I could say, then these are places where you can see them, and maybe just maybe say hi, hello, and have a chat with them. If you're not really into online dating, then there you have it. These are the places. So again, first is the salon, second is the makeup counters in the malls, third is fashion houses or couture houses or ateliers. Fourth would be clinics and hospitals. And the fifth would be the call centers, or again, since you're not allowed in those buildings, and you can see them or mingle with them in the cafes or the restaurants outside and very close to those call centers. And where are those call centers in the Philippines? They are in the BGC, or Bonifacio Global City, Northgate, Alabang, which was where I worked, Makati Central Business District, which was also where I worked, and I think Ayala. Some of them are in Ayala Center, Cebu City. And there you guys have it. Thank you so much for tuning in and staying up until the end. And I hope that you learned something today and that it made you happy. And I don't know, maybe make you want to go out there and see if I was right. And maybe you'll be lucky and you will see a transgender woman that will catch your eye and have a little chat with and start something beautiful. I'll see you guys again very soon. Bye.